Hi, hi, hey! Welcome to ComeonyespursTV, where we talk about everything Spurs. Tottenham against Manchester United. The game ended up 2-2 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We got two guests with us tonight. We got Yinka and we got Ben. They'll join us on the other side. In the meantime, come on, ye Spurs! Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to ComeonyespursTV, where we talk about everything Spurs. What a match! The classic game of two halves, as you said. I mean, and then it's like classic Tottenham, isn't it? This is your first time on Tottenham on ComeonyespursTV. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and if you need to get notified anytime we go live, please hit that bell button to get notified. Right, we've got with us two guests today, Yinka and we have Ben, and they're going to run us through today's program. I'll welcome your comments in the comment section below. Keep them coming in. Let's go, Soji JR from Sports Boys Chat here. Hey, how are you? So beautiful. So we've got John Russell here. John, thank you for joining us. I know that we are just on time. Right, John. What do you think? What do you think about the match? Let's start with Yinka first. Yinka, you sort of give us the opening salvo, if you like, for one of a better expression.
Salvo. The opening salvo was basically Man United firing everything they had at us. To be honest, so talking about opening salvo, it was a game that opened with Man United giving them their best punches. And we looked very susceptible. We looked like we were having a hangover from the Newcastle game. And to be honest, after 45 minutes, I thought, one, we were lucky to be just 2-0 down. And secondly, I was looking into the second half with a bit of intrepidation. Though saying that, I'm really happy with the reaction from the team in the second half. It came as a surprise. It came as a pleasant surprise. I think, with all that has gone on in the last few days, we needed to show some character. We needed to show some fight, some identity, something. Because it was getting very, very dark at Tottenham, and very gloomy and very negative. And it was spilling out onto the pitch. It was spilling out towards the board, and Spurs fans can get a bit impatient, and it was getting toxic in the stadium. So credit to the team. They showed a lot of guts. There was some really great play in the second half. We were well worth the draw in the end. Kane was seeing pictures, and he was instrumental in us getting back in the game. There is still a lot of issues and challenges we have as a team. We might touch upon that later on, but overall, well worth a draw. Overall, really good tactics by Mason in the end. He took off the right players at the right time, brought on the right players at the right time. And yeah, we got through in the end without at least conceding a late goal. There was a part of me thinking, we could have gone to concede another late goal again. But no, we didn't. We stood firm. We saw it through. And a draw was a creditable result. I don't think we should have got any more, and we shouldn't have got any less. So, a draw was more or less a fair result. So yeah, it was good. It was a good watch. But all in all, we played. It was actually a good game. Really good game to watch. Typical Tottenham Hotspurs, where we turn up for one half and not the other. We had that all season. It's just been our calling card all season. I'm sure you've heard me say it on the show a couple of times that our calling card has been Tottenham Hotspur. So credit to it going for us this time, when in many cases it's gone against us. So yeah. I'm going to pretend my screen's frozen and just smile like this.
I think we've lost
I
sound.
can't hear you too well.
Issues here. Let's have a look. Right, let's try and get in Ben.
No, we can't hear you.
Bravo, right? It's yeah. You give us your outlook on this one. Tell me what do you think?
Well, first of all, I've got to get a plug in for the pre-match talk we had that we released yesterday or day before yesterday. And I think if we go through that, it was Soji, you, me, and Chuma. And I think we had to predict the match, the outcome of the match, didn't we? And I think I was the only one that called it, and I called it a 2-2 draw. Everyone can go back and look at that and see what I said. It was going to be a 2-2 draw. Don't all clap for me at once. But I kind of knew that that this team under a proper manager, not under a back foot manager, but under Ryan Mason, we were going to do something. And I got to tell you, the first half, yeah, they scored 2 goals that went in. And, you know, in any match, goals can go in. Goals change matches. But what I would say, the beauty of it is that Spurs came out second half fighting. They just came out fighting. And it was, the first half was Man United's. Although we created lots of chances, we could have scored a goal. And at the last minute in the first half, they made it 2. And another team would have caved, but not my Spurs. We just went for it, took them apart in the second half. Fred didn't help matters. I think some people are questioning his nationality. Some think he comes from Ajegunle, but hey, that's for someone else to actually say. But I must say, the boys put in a huge shift. A man of the match, Kane. What do you say about Kane? Kane really did it. I mean, there's no one here, but I was screaming when we scored those 2 goals. Porro's goal, fantastic. Outside the left foot, right into the top corner, no chance. And the second goal by our Son Min-hyung popped the ball into the net, 2-2, and we could have won it. Dyer's miss. I know why he missed it. He jumped too quickly. He couldn't believe he was going to be so lucky. He just jumped, mistimed it, and the ball went wide. We could have won this match. So for me, it was a great match to watch. It really falls into the same mold as 2 years ago when Ryan took over and we went on his run. Man United is there for the picking. I still think we can do it. I'm going to make a prediction and say we're going to make top 4. And under Ryan Mason, we're going to make that top 4. And we're going to be in Champions League football again next season.
Mathematically still make it?
Yeah, of course we can. We can mathematically still make it. So let's see. And until the last match of the season.
Agreed.
We can still keep going. And I think that if those boys can play like they did in the second half against Liverpool next match, I think we can do it. That's what I feel. It was a great match. It was a great watch. My heart was thumping all through the match. I mean, although I called it a 2-2 draw, I didn't expect them to score 2 goals in the first half, to be fair. I thought it was going to be 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. But a 2-0 start was not what I envisaged. And so my heart was pumping like crazy. I was keeping well away from all the forums because I just didn't want to get any heartache. Turned my phone thinking off and was just watching the football. I think we got audio problems. Hopefully they heard me.
You'll have to say that all again, actually. So from the top, Ben, what did you think about the match?
John.
John,
can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Welcome to ComeonyespursTV. John is a first-time guest, and come on, I mean, everyone's been excited about the outcome of the match. What did you think? Is it something to be excited about? Just maybe a bit of slight caution, or okay, I don't know. Ryan Mason coming in. There's plenty of talk about him and the fact that, okay, he knows the players, he's been at the club for a long time, since he was like, what, 8 years old or something like that. And then He's only 31. He's only 31, and even though he's coached for about 5-6 years now, and the only thing why he started coaching was because of the head injury he suffered while playing for Hull City. Now we're here now, taking charge from Stellini. Some folks have said that, look, we should have a clean break from the Conte era totally, and just bring the new manager right now rather than have this interim arrangement. What do you think?
Well, first, what's up to you guys? It's great to invite me on here. I'm very flattered to be on here. It's pretty cool. Usually we're running our podcast, Tottenham Hotspur, and I'm sure just like you guys, it's been nothing but negativity for the last 6 weeks because of what's been going on. And I'm sure just like you guys, I tuned in today just thinking, 7 minutes in, here we go. This team doesn't want to play. They don't care. But then something happened in that dressing room. I don't know. I wish I was a fly in the wall in there to hear what motivated them, because they came out and they started pressing and they were connecting on these long passes. And it just seemed like their tenacity and their attitudes were just like, hey, we're playing fucking football. Let's try it and let's see what we can do and go balls to the wall. And to scrap out a tie with Man U, I mean, that shows me that there is still some fight there. This team does still have a little dog left in them, and that at least makes me feel a little bit better today.
Can you hear me? Oh, what's going on here?
Yes,
you can hear me now, right? Yep. You got a yank on when you got. I mean, we tie with when someone says we have a tie with Man United. Well, that's okay. And thanks for that. Thanks for that, John. It's crazy. I mean, because no one expected. Well, I guess no one expected the outcome at the end of the first half, given how things were. But I mean, like you said, I mean, who wouldn't love to have been a fly on the wall in that dressing room? What do you think went on there, Yinka?
In the dressing room?
Yes.
I cast my mind back to the Newcastle game and what happened in that dressing room, and we hear talk of Lloris having a bit of a backlash, and there being a lot of turmoil in that Newcastle dressing room from the last game. But I think this dressing room would have been a lot calmer for some reason. And I think the players are taking a bit more responsibility this time in regards of the outcome of it. I don't think Mason entirely has full I've got an impression that he's there as the front man, but is he really, I think it's at this stage of the season and at the players that we have in the dressing room, there's a lot of self-managing going on and a lot of self-motivating between them. And I see that happening half-time at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium today, in regards of the players kind of like getting together and saying, look, enough's enough. We have to come out here and show who we are. I think it's gone beyond managers now, to be honest. It don't matter who's going to have in charge. I think it's down to the players, and we keep hiding behind managers, and we hide behind Stellini and hide behind Conte and Nuno nothing. And I think that it's time that these players stood up and showed the club and the supporters what they're about. And I think a little bit of that came through today. Yes, going forward we're going to need a manager, and yes, going forward we're going to need coaching, because the football, like, they've lost all sense of how to play football. Like, they can't string passes together. It was interesting with the tactics from Mason, and I saw it as a tactic actually in the game of more of a long ball game. They were faffing about with the defenders and the goalkeeper. It was straight up the pitch with the goal kicks. It was more direct with the free kicks in the first half, especially, and that was to maybe counter the press of Man United in the first half, which was really working well. So, answer your question, players turned up at half-time, sorted themselves out, and went out there in the second half and showed a bit more mental and a bit more steel and a bit more what we expect from our Tottenham. That was the Tottenham I expect most of the season. It's only that we just get it in 45-minute bursts. all the time. I don't think we put a 90 minutes together. Like only a few games this season, I can remember us putting an entire 90 minutes together of going at a team.
Right, Sunday, Ocheni says, happy birthday, Sir Soji. Yay, thanks very much, Sunday.
Hey, happy birthday, bro.
Thank you. Thank you. The real icing on the cake would have been if we had, won that game. But hey, Dyer, thank you for being Dyer in for a goal. Oh gosh. Anyway, it's a real honor to share passion for the club with you. May you enjoy the best of health. Thank you very much. Also, I got Ben. He's not sharing your optimism for top 4, and he also says that Mason said to them, "Be braver." The players were probably worried about the Newcastle dropping happening again. They play with more confidence for sure. Right, Ben, do you agree with that?
Well, no. I think. Sorry, I was just reading what Sunday just said. He doesn't agree with me. That's good. We have difference of opinions, but I still strongly feel we can make top 4. We've got to have that belief. We didn't believe last year, and it happened. I believe this year. I believe in Ryan Mason. I believe we're going to play front football, and I think we're going to go to Liverpool and we're going to do the business. And then it's going to be, it's going to be a free for all. I think we can do it. Other teams, especially Man United, I think we can still catch Man U. If we catch Man U, I'll be the happiest person on this planet. I tell you that. That would be the best icing on the cake. Tell you that. So,
okay, we're 8 points behind Newcastle as the table stands now. I think we're about 6 points or 5 points behind Man U. 6 points behind Man U at this stage of the season. Now, John, you reckon we have a chance?
Who knows? I don't think any of us or any of the fans even have a clue right now of what this team's identity is. But I think we all can agree that with Mason, in charge, it might not be a long-term solution, but I feel like he just lets them play. He says, go out there and run. You guys know each other. You've been playing together for how long now? Like, just go out there and play. And I feel like you kind of saw that.
Yeah. So I think if you were the manager now, what would you say to the players? If someone said to you, okay, go on, you got them. What would you say? What would be your tactic? Would you change it from 3 at the back to 4 at the back, or would you keep them the same? And because you have this everyone saying all sorts of things going on about how am I going to put this now? You have people saying that we need a lot of bravery. We also need how much you put it. We also need people to take a lot more responsibility, because if you look at the first goal from Man United's perspective, from our perspective rather, right? It just seemed as if no one was prepared to take on, take responsibility in the box and try and attack and engage with the striker. And he just had like a free run, exactly what happened in Newcastle. So, where do you go from here? Do we, because what is it in our psyche at the moment that doesn't allow us to play in the first half? What is it? Can you put your finger on it?
No, but that's got to be what Conte was talking about. This mentality of the team where they don't get off the bus. They wait and they show up at the park and they wait to get punched in the mouth before they really start rocking and rolling. And I think he kept trying to change that, but it just wouldn't happen. And as far as switching tactics, like, do we really want to go 4 in the back? Look at the FOTMOB scores for our defenders today. Dyer was a 6.7, not good. Lenglet was a 6.0, not good. Romero actually had a good game in a 7.8, but who are you going to put back there for a back 4 right now that would really give you confidence? I say that we kind of just switch this up and let's go on the offensive. We have a Charleston, we have Son, we have Kuleski, we have Kane. We have goal scorers. Let's just go all out and just try to beat teams 5-4. Because we obviously can't stop anything.
I think, well, that's the for me, that's the front foot attitude to take. To get us out of this, what I call almost like negative spiral, if you like, because as it is now, we for some reason we just don't seem to have this confidence to sort of go out and attack teams. I mean, I think as if you listen to the commentators, I mean, today, those who were sort of giving the pundits who get sort of analyzing the game, I mean, at halftime and before the game started, their perspective was that Man U would come here and they would obviously understand that we've been on the back of a 6-1 loss away to Newcastle. We'll be low on confidence, and that showed in the way that they played in the first half. I mean, if you look at the match against Sevilla, I mean, where they were playing, I mean, they started playing out from the back. The next match, it was all long, you know, but today they revised to start playing at back because they had more confidence, you know, and that was on the basis that, okay, these guys, they're a little bit short on confidence. Let's have a go at them. Check what happened in the second half. They didn't play around in the first out of the half anymore. They were kept the sent long, you know. So I think some of it has to do with the way that you're perceived by your opponents. I mean, I think one of the things Vieira was saying yesterday was that when you come out in the what's the word, the tunnel, and you look your opponent in the eye, you know, and they see the fear in your face, and you see the fear in their eyes as well. So you sort of, you know, it's like a eyeballing competition, and that sort of sets the tone for the match in most cases. I think our guys just need to be a little bit more what I call in your face, if you like, you know, right in your face. You want to say something?
Did I want to say something?
Yes, you look like you're
No, not really. But now that you asked me to, I will take the opportunity to give a shout out to Fraser the Whale for keeping us in the game when it looked long lost, to be honest. So shout out to Fraser Forster for having such a is it the end of Hugo Bossman Lloris?
I hope so.
Come on, Ben, man. This guy's been a servant for us for 10 years. Let him at least have a little a bye-bye game. What do they call it? A send-off game.
That was before his last match.
Newcastle's last match.
What?
No, honestly, like that's the last thing you want to see of Hugo Lloris in the Tottenham shirt.
Yeah, that's Foster was immense. Honestly,
he was, yeah.
Do you see that Schmeichel type save? Boy, the guy is take off my hat to Foster. He had a great match. He let in 2 goals, yeah, right. But he kept out a lot more. That could have been a 6-0 drubbing. It could have been a 6-0 drubbing, just like when we had Lloris in goal. And remember this, the last match, Lloris let in 4. He let in 4. You know, then he was too scared he had to come out again. The whole captain said he felt a twinge in his waist. He felt a twinge in his brain. He was no good, honestly, that first half. So Foster came in, let 1 go in. So that was great, you know. And then today he was immense. He let in 2 goals, yeah, but you know, them goals go in. Our defense was crap in that phase of the match. They didn't play. I mean, you listen to expression, you know, expression, oozing expression. He was having a nightmare. He was screaming. What kind of? We have no defense whatsoever. Dyer, I think Dyer should be pensioned off at the end of the season. Just tell him bye. No more matches for you. Find another club for yourself and see you later, alligator. Because we don't have a good. We've got Romero. And we got Longley. Longley had a goodish match.
Longley's gone at the end of the season as well.
What?
Longley's gone at the end of the season as well, hopefully.
Well, I heard. Well, not from what I heard. I heard they're going to take up his contract, but I hope he goes well. I hope he goes well. I hope we get 2 brand new centre defenders that will take us to new heights next season. I'm pleased with next season. I don't know whether we get Nagelsmann or wherever we get. It's got to be better than those 2 that have gone, Conte and Stellini, freaking Punch and Judy. They've gone. We haven't got them anymore. So hopefully we should get something better next season. So I'm optimistic about next season. if we get Nagelsmann or Nigel Mansell as they call him, we should front foot football. That's what we want. We want front foot football. If we lose, we win, but we're playing front foot football. It will make it easier for the fans. I swear to God, because what we've had since Mourinho has been absolutely dire after what we had with Poch. So that's me. I'm all for a front foot manager. Even Ryan's a front foot manager, for Christ's sakes. You know, we've got to get. I mean, we have our star man back as well, Royale. He'll be back as well. So we should do one.
I'll tell you, I've missed him. You know.
Yeah,
I missed it.
I've missed
Who would have thought it,
He's
right? That it will come to a point at the start of the season, and it's coming and done a really, really good job just before he got injured. Now, I mean, keep your comments coming in. This is Come On You Spurs TV. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Sunday Ocheni says, if Lloris will accept a backup role at the club, he'll always get our love, but not our first choice. How do we keep your captain on the bench will be a problem, you know? And Winks too. Winks, is he still a player?
Yeah, he is.
Right, so I guess that's a problem for whoever the new manager is. Yes, so if you like to join this, so please leave your comments, keep them coming in. Join the conversation on Come On You Spurs TV. Tottenham 2, Manchester United 2. Jadon Sancho, he hadn't had a great season so far for Manchester United, and at the start of the game, I mean, you had him up front alongside Rashford. Rashford played through the middle today, and which is not exactly what his normal position that he plays for Man U was. And then you had Anthony on the right and Sancho on the left, and it kind of paid dividends in the end with that first goal, even though from a Spurs perspective, probably not the best way to defend in the world, you know. But I mean, talk us through that first goal, Yinka.
The first goal.
Yes.
Poro got cooked, didn't it? He did it on the right, curled it in. How many times have we conceded goals like this season? Come on, man. It's like it was such a weak link in our team. Like, so many goals have been conceded that same way from either the right or the left-hand side of players cutting in and taking shots on our goal. Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a positional issue by Poro on there. Showed him his side and tried to well take a finish. I can't really blame Forrester for not saving it. It was placed quite well in the corner, and they were off and running. It's the concentration at the beginning of games that we're really lacking at the moment. It's happened so many times where we just don't come out of the blocks properly, and we are all over the place. And it's like it takes us a half to like, get our bearings and navigate around. So it was just something that happens really frustrating, and conceding goals like that early on in games is just killing us every single time. I don't care how they go in. I don't care. It's just that they're going in. And yeah, we've just got to really put a stop to that. If that continues, then just you know, write off any hope of whatever we want to achieve this season, even though that's already at a push to get a Champions League spot.
Right, so I mean, the second goal came from a bit of a counter-attack, if you like. I mean, it was one long pass. I went up to Rashford. I mean, John, you saw that, didn't you? And I mean, from my perspective, I was watching where I was, right? I was saying to myself, I mean, he's got it covered. There's nothing's happening here. I mean, it didn't look like there was anything on. What do you think, John? I mean, talk us through that second goal.
Wasn't that second goal what we've always wanted Spurs to do? That counter-attack? I mean, Perisic just got denied by De Gea, and Fernandez just turned it up and found a long ball that was perfect to Rashford, and he just did what we expect Eric Dyer to do. He crumbled under pressure right there. I mean, Rashford just fucking split him. And it was just such a perfect, like, view of what we want. Like, we wanted that counterattack to be happening for us. And it just never really, came to fruition with Conte. We never really developed that. And then Man U comes right down the field and displays it perfectly. That was so disheartening to see because I was like, God, that's what we've always wanted us to do. And look, they just did it right to us perfectly. It was just very disheartening.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a similar situation in I'm not sure if it was in second half, early part, when Kulusevski was in a similar position and he tried to curl it in, but unfortunately he just went just slightly wide. There's no one on the end of it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, we as a team just seem not to be at the races in the early part of that. However, we did have some good chances though in that first half. And I mean, I thought that De Gea came to the rescue a couple of times, and they had a few blocks. And I mean, come on, Inga, you saw. I mean, what did you think?
We did have a few chances in the first half, though. My challenge is that we're not sustaining our attacking football at all. We're having chances. We're having odd chances here and odd. It's just really frustrating for me to watch. I can't lie. Like Perisic, he had a few chances. Kane, I have to say as well, man. Kane was seeing pictures today, man. He was seeing things on that pitch. Like he had his sixth sense on today. And in the first half and in the second half, he put a ball in the first half that went right across the face of the goal. You're thinking, where's everyone attacking the back post? Who's attacking the 6-yard box? And that's the type of back foot player that I'm talking about. Like we just weren't on the front foot. As Ben was saying, we don't play front foot football. It's always like, we're like a step behind everything at the moment. So
very reactive.
Yeah, we are reacting rather than being proactive in certain aspects of our attacking play. So, but in the second half, I thought that, that is what I'd say is football where we're at home, man. We're at home. Let them know that we're at home. Literally, the first half is like we were playing away. It was like a hot knife through butter. As soon as they got into the final third, it looked like Man United were going to score every time. So, it was a dramatic change in the second half, and I think our attack was a lot better. But watching the game yesterday, Man City versus the others, I just think we're so far behind, footballing-wise, just in our way of playing. Because I was like, wow, this type of football is just light years ahead of where Spurs is at the moment. So can't complain, as I say, I'll take the draw all day long. But we've got such a long way to go. Like, to remember how to play football again. We've had three managers that have completely taught us out of how we used to play football. And now I think we need another coach or head coach, manager, whatever you want to call him, to teach these guys how to play front foot football again. It's just been taught out of us in the last 2.5 seasons.
I think, Ben, listen to this, Ben. If you think about it, right? Can you hear us, Ben?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing, right? There's this remote possibility, even though who knows what's going to happen by the end of the season, right? In terms of what the managerial situation will turn out to be, right? And Ryan was asked, I think during his press conference, that would he take on the job if offered, and he was like, "Yes, of course, I'll take it on. It will be a dream come true." Right now, I know you can't base managerial appointments on one game or reaction during a match, but strangely enough, I actually thought he looked really assured today, as a manager. I thought he really handled the pressure quite well. I mean, even though we didn't end up with the points, with the outcome we were seeking, I thought he made some really, really good tactical decisions in terms of the way we set up right in the first half. Okay, fine. He didn't come off in terms of the goals, but Richarlison, I think, played his part. I mean, he kept harrying people. He was challenging, and he was unlucky enough to get a few fouls given for him. But I thought he put himself about just a bit, and he went close, I think, on one occasion or thereabouts. I think if he gets more games, we're probably going to be much better off by the end. By the start of next season. I think this season, some people say write it off and don't even bother going for the top four, because if you go for the top four, you might end up being humiliated in Europe. Now, I think one of the things for me is this. We haven't had a stellar season, and that's for a number of reasons. We've had injuries to critical players for long periods. We've had different injuries, from Davies to Longley to Kulusevski to Richarlison to Bentancur to Bissouma. So it's quite a lot of significant injuries, and of course, add to that, Mr. Son hasn't been on great form, given how crucial he is to that front too. But they came up with the goods in the end today. Given that, if you know where we are now and where we could have been, I think, I'm not sure. So there are two questions here. One, can Ryan Mason take the job? I know it's a long shot, and people will probably laugh me off the streets here, Or if he doesn't take the job, who do you think we should take to? Who do you think we should be going after? Because as it seems now, Poch is totally out of the picture from all indications, unless of course we do a Willian on Chelsea and grab him from under their noses, But the reports say that he hasn't even been contacted by Tottenham at all. John, what do you reckon with this?
I feel like we did this dance before, and we've all talked about, when Ryan Mason held that, temporary position for Conte. We all had those opinions. Should he stay? He's friends with these players. We like how he runs the team. I was in the camp of bring in another professional, bring in another Mourinho type, a proven winner, because that's what we need. I thought we were on the precipice of really becoming a top flight team, but clearly, that didn't work out. And now we see Ryan Mason back in charge, and they actually played with a little bit more fire. So I'll be dead honest, I have no idea where to go for the next manager. But whoever it is, you need a complete culture change. And if that's the case, you're not going to do that if you keep Ryan Mason here, because Ryan Mason is the culture. He is embodying what Son, Kane, Dyer, Hugo, everything those players feel, Ryan Mason feels, because he's grown up with them. So if we really want to rip the Band-Aid off and start a culture change, you got to clean house. And that's not only getting Ryan Mason out of here, that as much as Spurs fans hate to say it, that's going to be losing a lot of our favorite players. That's getting rid of Son. That's saying goodbye to Hugo. It's getting rid of Kane. You need to switch this around, because since this team lost the Premiership title when Leicester stole it from them, they've never been the same.
Sorry, I got to disagree. We never lost it. We were never in it.
That's fair. But since then, this team, you even saw it when we went all the way to the Championship League final. We got there because Lucas did heroics to get us there. And you were talking about it earlier, being in the tunnel. I'm just wondering if Conte saw it too. He saw right through these players. When they got to that Champions League final, they felt like they were lucky to be there because Lucas had such an amazing performance to get us there. And ever since then, they always just feel like they're just happy to be here. They're in the EPL and they're excited to be here, but we need someone to change that mentality and get some killers, some dogs here who want to go out and just punch somebody in the mouth and say that we deserve to be here.
Yeah, agree.
All right, if you agree or disagree, leave your comment in the comment section below. John says that go out and punch someone in the face. Just put yourself about. Basically make yourself heard, and then just be aggressive, be authoritative.
I love that American term. Go out there and punch him in the mouth. You hear it in American football, you hear it. It means go out there and show them. We get punched in the mouth. We just got punched in the mouth 5 times by Newcastle the other day till we almost knocked our teeth out. That's what I'm talking about. Go out there and punch him in the mouth. Let them know that we are Tottenham. That hasn't been happening in so many games.
I feel like the last time you saw
When's the last
Spurs
time
do
we
that,
went out and
and
punched the team in the mouth?
it must have been back. It must have been versus Man United, 3 years ago when Delhi had 3 goals, and I think we beat them 5-1. That's the last time I saw this team go up and say, "You're not going to fuck with us. Like, we're right here and we're ready to play." Since that game when Mourinho was in charge, I haven't seen it.
What about when we gave him 6-1? Well, we gave Man United 6-1 recently.
Man United 6. Yeah, we gave Man United 6.
They held 6 goals, mate. They held 6 from us. So what I was trying to say, because I think so you asked me the question. You started off asking me the question, Soji, about Ryan Mason, but then you went across to John. But I was preparing my speech, and what I wanted to say was that I think Ryan's going to be like why?
Sorry, Ben. Sorry, my bad. I mean, please go ahead.
I'm a big boy. I think Ryan's going to be like he's going to get lots of his players back. You see them all coming back. We got Davis back. We got Richarlison back, of course. We're not going to get the 2 guys in midfield back, so we're going to have to deal with those 3 guys we got. But I think that the way Ryan Mason plays, handles the match, you saw him make changes, educated changes to the team that made us change our style of play, which we never saw Conte doing, and of course we never saw Stellini doing, because Stellini was just riding off the back of fans wanting him to play. See, Ryan didn't play 4 at the back again. He wasn't going to fall into that trap. That would have been a schoolboy error. He still persisted with the 5 at the back, but they were playing front foot football. I just loved the way they were playing in the second half. Now, Ryan's not going to say anything else. If they ask him, would you take it? He's going to say yes. I mean, who wouldn't? He would take the job. Whether he's ready for it, I'm not sure. I think for a team like Tottenham, he's not Arteta. You know, Arteta was under Pep, so he learned a lot from Pep, and that's what he's applied to his Arsenal team now. But Ryan has had Mourinho and Conte to tutor him, so he's inherited their squad, the way of playing football. But we need a manager that's going to get the boys playing front foot 4-4-2. That's what I want to see. So I don't think Ryan can do it this season, but you never know. He might get his chance later on when we get rid of whoever we get in. Because if we don't get Nagelsmann, then the next manager going to come is going to probably go the way of Mourinho or Conte, and maybe then everyone will say, you know what, let's give Ryan a chance. He'll do it, and he'll take us to glory. But he's one of our own, isn't he? He's one of our own. I don't trust Tottenham. I don't trust Tottenham to make a good move for manager, because if they do that, I'll be staring at the screen, be like, "What? Tottenham? I don't think so." I mean, if you look at it, look at the history of Tottenham. We've always got a good manager by default. You know, right from Jol through to Pochettino, they were never first choice managers. So the first choice manager we get isn't going to work. I don't think so. Maybe Ryan might get his chance in the future, but fingers crossed. Maybe Daniel is going to say to himself, you know what? I've got this number. He's got a number 2 now, hasn't he? He's going to take over all the footballing things. Whether he's allowed to take over spending on the players and looking for the right players to play, I don't know. But I think that Ryan's done a good job. He's shown real managerial nous. He made changes at the right time, brought in the right players, and gave a good team talk at half time. I mean, for the boys to come out at half time from 2-0 down to go to get 2-2, I think it shows there's something in there. And Soji's muted himself.
Thanks for that, though, Ben, because you said something that made me laugh. That maybe we will have Ryan Mason like David Lee, like he'll be like lifelong caretaker manager. Every time we sack a manager, then Ryan Mason will come in for the next rest of his career. He'll always be like coming in as caretaker manager, you know, as a auxiliary manager. So no, big up for Ryan Mason though, because we needed him the last time when Enoch decided to sack Mourinho on the day of the cup final versus City, and he done all right to the end of the season then. And I'm going to put this question to you guys. Between now and the end of the season, what does Mason actually have to do to get him in, at least in contention for the job? Because he's got the audition at the moment. What does he need to do between these last 6 games or 5-6 games of the season? Win them all?
Get us fourth. Get us fourth and he'll be shooing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, so he's got an opportunity. Sorry,
we
John?
didn't touch on this, though, either. Like, can we really, as a fan base, want to go out and spend more money on a manager? We're paying more managers to not work here than we're paying some players. Like, if we have Ryan Mason and he does get us fourth and the players are responding to him, I'd rather that money get allocated to upgrading the team on the pitch rather than paying another manager who probably will be fired in another year or two anyway, and that's more money burned.
That's true, but Kane won't stay. Kane won't. I don't know whether Kane will stay with Ryan in charge. He needs a big time manager.
Yeah.
Was there anything about today's game that you felt like as a bit of an audition for Kane for Man United?
Yeah, Kane. Well, because he had his match today. He had a very good match today, and all the pundits were saying that they saw their future player on the pitch today. So they're hoping they're going to get him, but realistically, if we get a good manager in, not Ryan, but if we get a good manager in, I think we'll keep Kane. But Kane will leave. He will leave. But he might not push for a move and just stay to the end of next season and just leave on a free. That's what I would do. If I were Kane, I would stay to the end of this next season and then leave on a free, regardless.
Yeah.
I would love to hear. I would love to sit down with Ryan Mason and literally like have him talk to us, the fans, and tell us what he's learned from Jose, what he's learned from Conte. Like, is he just in the background not really taking notes, or is he very studious and has a strict schedule and knows how to do training, and because he's molded it to what these two great coaches before him have done? We never really know what Ryan Mason thinks or what his tactics are because he never talks to the media really because he's always that tear caker.
You never know, you could have learned it as well.
Yeah, but if you look at what I think when Conte came in, remember he said that he loved the way he saw Ryan Mason setting the team up in training, that he believed that he's a good guy, and that's why he pulled him into his team. Remember, this Conte came with a full dancing. I think the people that came with Conte were more than the players we have in Tottenham anyway, but he still managed to find a space for Ryan. So I think that the managers, both Conte and Mourinho, noticed that Ryan has got something about him, and he will make a good manager, I think.
Ben, do you think that was a detrimental to Conte, though? Because, like, it's kind of like good cop, bad cop. Like, Conte was always this hard-nosed coach who was really making these players push, but you kept Mason here, and from the looks of it, it seems like a lot of these players, Conte was too hard on them, so they would go run Mason and, like, cry a little bit to him. Like, maybe keeping Mason on the staff actually hurt Conte because he wasn't the only voice in the locker room these players went and talked to.
That's a point. I mean, we don't know because no one's ever said anything about that. But I don't know. It could be, but we do know that they stopped playing for Conte. And it wasn't just that match where he ranted afterwards. I think it was all season because they played for him last season. This season, I think. I mean, think about it. I mean, I wouldn't like to play in that Tottenham 5-4-5 whatever 5-2-3. I wouldn't, or 2-1. I wouldn't want to play in that because you're running all over the place without the football. I mean, if you play football, you want to play football. You don't want to be running up and down and burning your lungs out and not touching the ball because some of the players don't touch the ball at all. So I think that they didn't like playing for Conte this season, and it was obvious, and that's why he had to come out and shout and scream, and then got kicked off the off the managership. So I don't know. I mean, what you're saying, John, might be true. It might be that Ryan Mason was in there and they were crying to him. But they've got no one to cry to now. They've got to listen to Ryan. And I think they did. They listened to him second half. First half, I don't think, they shipped 2 goals, obviously through individual mistakes is what happens. And not because they didn't play well, but through individual mistakes. But I think they all came into their own. Remember, the defense was still there. The same defense was playing in the second half. And they played well. I've got to give it to them. They played well Tottenham really put Man United to the sword the second half. And if we only had the second half, we would have won that match.
Well, thanks for that. This is Come On You Spurs TV, where we talk about everything Spurs. Today, Tottenham 2, Man United 2. What a match. Second half, Tottenham came alive, and it was like a totally different team transformed in the second half. I mean, talk us through that first goal that came from Pedro Porro. I mean, some good play from Perisic on the left hand side, wasn't it? Do you want to take us through that, Yanka?
Sorry?
Do you want to take us through the comeback goal?
It's at the moment. I'm only showing half my face because I only saw half the match because I'm the Tottenham supporter. So you can have to ask somebody else.
Oh goodness, Ben, do you want to take us? Maybe John should take us through that one. Ben, you do that. Come on, Ben.
Okay, yeah. I saw that was a beautiful goal by Porro. Outside the foot, how difficult is that? He took that ball down well, went around the defender and just popped it into the top right-hand corner. That was a fantastic goal. So I think Porro is a great offensive player. I mean, it's almost as if you want to clone him with Royal, because Royal's a good defender, Porro isn't. But going up front, Porro is brilliant. Or maybe what we could do is actually pay Porro instead of Kulusevski until Kulusevski gets his act together and put Royal on as a wing back, because those two players together, a clone of both of them would be brilliant for Tottenham. That's what I say. But no, his goal, the way he took that goal was absolutely fantastic. Top left-hand corner, top right-hand corner, with his left peg. Brilliant.
It got started off with the audacious right foot, almost nonchalant flick of the boot from Perisic to get the cross out in the first place, and then they blocked it, and then it came to Porro, and yes, that was quite good in the end. Keep your comments coming in. This is Come On You Spurs TV. Join the conversation. We are reviewing the match between Tottenham and Manchester United. With me, I've got John. John is a first-time guest. John, thank you for joining us. How have you found it so far?
I like the vibe. You guys are great. You work well together. The opinions are great because you have on every opposite end of the spectrum. This is great what you guys have going on here. Being across the pond, like I said, we have our own Spurs podcast, but it's Americanized, so it's very different, and the opinions are a little bit different. So it's great being on here, listening and engaging with you guys about how you talk about this.
Great to have you as well, man. Great to get a different perspective from you guys across the pond.
It's great to have the stateside perspective. I mean, which part of the states are you in, John?
I'm from Philadelphia, but I'm living in Florida now, so I'm by Miami.
Right, so you're sunny. You gone sunny, have you?
Yeah.
He's rocking those Philly. He's Philly fitted, man. Philly fitted.
Yeah. Honestly, second goal went in. Kane and Son combination. I mean, what a duo those lot are. I mean, come on. I think before we even get to the second goal, I think Kane was absolutely magnificent today. I mean, he was playing that number 10 role, and it was so difficult for anyone to pick him up in the Man U backline. He kept roaming and he kept switching positions. He would come from the back and he just dropped deep and go up front, and it just was so difficult to mark for Man U. I thought he did absolutely great today. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah. I think I'm thinking with a bit of sadness. I'm thinking with a
Say again.
He said Ben.
Ben, was you? Yeah, I mean, go on.
Okay,
go on, Ben.
I think when his way Kane played today, it's like he's playing with a force field around him. No one can get the ball off of him, and you just see he's running with the ball, and he has three guys on him, and he manages to get away from him with a little burst of speed. then finds that pass, that telling pass that hurts them all. That pass that he made to Son, unbelievable. And that made Man United fans just drool seeing that. And then they realized that he was playing against them. But that was fantastic play. He does that all the time. Both Son and Kane, best combination in the league this season. Absolutely fantastic. If Son could score a few more goals before the end of the season, then they'll go out and win that title outright. So no, Kane he's an asset. What did Conte say? Conte said that he loses what he has to say about Kane, because Kane is just phenomenal. I think he's the best striker in freaking Europe, if not the world. Absolutely fantastic. So, like I said, he plays like that. He's got a force field around him, like he's got the force with him, and no one can touch it. No one can get the ball off of him. The only way he can get off him is to foul him, So, yeah, I think that's absolutely brilliant play from Kane. Absolute smashing player.
As we like to say, he's a champion footballer.
He is.
Right.
He's one of our own.
Gray C, who's joining us, says Kane was absolutely brilliant in the second half. It says, yo, JR and Yinka. And it says, well, I think it's probably he, yes. Says Kane was brilliant in the second half. He also says Kulu also showed a little bit of flashes of how he used to be. What do you guys think, John?
Well, that second goal was awesome, because if you remember watching it, 10 minutes before that goal, Dyer just missed a wide open header that kind of made all the air just come out of that stadium. And then you bring in the two subs, you bring in Yama, you bring in Davies, and like kind of started to turn around a little bit, and then bam, 2 minutes later, it was like Son and Kane just picked up where they left off last year when they were winning golden boots and setting records. So it was awesome to see that. It just sucks that it is so late in the year. Like, there's not enough time now to get that duo back to what they did for us in the seasons past. But it was awesome to see it today.
Having people who say to us, oh, Kane should go because we rely too much on him, and Son should go because he's had a poor season. I'm thinking to myself, what are these guys smoking? What are you, whatever you're smoking, stop it.
It's dissonance. One plays well, you should go. The other one plays bad, you should go. What's that person smoking? You're absolutely right. So they're both opposite ends of the spectrum, and yet both should go. The person should give their head a wobble.
And anyone will give an arm and a leg to have those two in their team. Any team in the world right now will give an arm and a leg to have Kane and Son on the team, and some people are saying that we should let them go. I'm thinking, what's going on?
Come on, man. Let's not sugarcoat it. Son does not have a great season, guys, man. Come on. You're gonna like
one season in 7. Hello, 1 season in 7. Come on. So we should let him go because he has a bad season?
At this current time, Son has not been delivering the way that we know he can. I was going to make one mention about Kane quickly, is that I'm tinged with a bit of sadness with Kane, because for the last 2-3 seasons, we've seen a generational talent, and we just haven't had a team to back him up with. We would have won so much if we've just had the team surrounding him, because this season, I think, has been one of his best seasons he's ever had at Spurs, pound for pound.
Well, I think I'll disagree with that one. And I'll tell you why I disagree with him with that, because Kane has been part of that team at the height, at every point in time. So, we got to the Champions League final, he was there. He didn't score. He played an absolute mare, on that match. So, we got to the final against Chelsea, he didn't score. They beat us 2-0 in 2015. So, we've had plenty of opportunities to sort of put a stamp on. When we had a really, really good team on the pitch, we got beaten in the semi-final by what's their name? Those guys. That came in today, Manchester United. Yeah. So, he's been part of that team. So if he hasn't won anything, it's not because of the team around him. He has contributed. He's actually been part of the team that failed to win anything. So he has to take responsibility for that as well. It's not down to the team or putting anybody. That's my view anyway. I don't know what you guys think.
I think that's why he stayed. I think that's why. I think he's recognized the fact that he hasn't been up. He's been in all those matches. I mean, remember this. He was injured for the final and before the final, and we were being carried by the rest of the team, including our golden wonder, Moira. And yet he came in the final, like you said, and freaking was a flop. I mean, that match, I was at the stadium watching it on a big screen. The first time I've ever been to the stadium and watched him on a big screen. The big screens were in the middle of the stadium, and I was watching it. And I came away from that match sick because I didn't see Kane. I thought I didn't even know he played. So you're right. I agree with you that Kane has been mercurial at some points, but where it matters, he's fallen short. And I think that's the reason why Kane he's recognized that, and he's decided to stay to see whether he can actually try and do something for us. And you know, this season's gone. He can't do anything for us. All he can do is try and get us in the Champions League. But let's see what happens next season. I mean, last season, I don't want to talk about those rats or those scum down the road. But they had a nightmare of 3 years, and look what's happened to them now. Well, okay, they're almost winning the league. Not going to win it this year, but just think of the difference they made. So it might happen to us. Next season might be the season that Spurs actually do it, because I tell you this for nothing, I never thought that under Poch would come second in the Premiership, and people don't really talk about that. They just keep running Spurs down. But we came second, and then we came third. So we can do it. The missing ingredient. I mean,
I can hear it.
But let's see what happens next season. Sorry,
but why would Harry stay? Though? I mean,
didn't hear that. What did you say?
Would you say?
So say again, John?
Yinka.
No, I said to you, I didn't hear what your missing ingredient was. I was excited to find out what the missing ingredient that we were missing was.
Oh, the missing ingredient was Kane coming with his shooting boots. Then we could have won something, but we didn't.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, John, go on. Sorry.
I was just thinking, why would Harry stay anymore? What's the incentive? You know, management has promised him, look, you're gonna play under Jose Mourinho, and we're gonna back you. Done after a year. You're gonna learn under Antonio Conte. He's got all these trophies. We're gonna back you. Done. If I'm Harry, like, how many more times is this management and front office going to just blow smoke up my ass? Like, when am I finally going to be like, yo, it's not happening here. I love Tottenham. I will be one of the greatest players to ever wear this uniform. But this regime is not doing what they promised time and time again. And he moves on to a Byron or a Man U. Like, to me, why would he stay now?
For the club. And maybe he likes to smoke.
No, we don't know what way. I think the family is going to. His wife is due in October. They're settled in North London. It might be a case of he's going to go for the Premier League. I can see him going Everton and coming back anyway. He's going to do a Sheringham if he does go anyway. So wherever he goes, he's coming back. You know, so the case.
Well, I don't think he's going to leave. That's me, because I think he wants to be, you know, like Mr. Levy said, he's going to have a statue of him in front of the stadium, you know, and he'll still win things with Tottenham. I mean, I think we're probably going through a bad patch, and this bad patch, I mean, people will come back in a couple of years to come, I think, and look back and think, okay, we're through a bad patch.
Going to be in between the cinema and the hotel,
the hotel.
Or is it going to be in between the multiplex and the underground car park with the roller coaster ride on top of it? I don't know where they're going to put this statue, man.
On the Formula One track, the racing track.
On the Formula One track, or is it going to be next to, like, I don't know, on the Skywalk? I don't know where they're thinking of putting it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm
The
pretty
wonderful
sure.
world of Spurs.
Yeah, listen, I think someone shared an article today, and it kind of puts things in a bit of perspective. And I like it when Spurs fans say, "Oh, are we a football club, an entertainment company, or an asset management firm?" And or are we really a proper football club? And the thing is this, right? So here we are, and what the article basically said was just quoting us the guys up the road, the old manager Arsene Wenger, right? I said one of the most difficult things that he had to do was to manage the team when they were building the stadium, right? Because they'd gone out and taken a $300 million or pounds loan, and they had
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
keep qualifying for Champions League every year in order to service those loans, right? Now, that is no different from the model that we have now. The only difference is that, okay, maybe we have same size stadium, right? However, maybe the TV deal is a lot bigger than what it was back then, but the fundamentals remain the same. And we've had COVID years in between, so we still need that revenue base in order to service the loans. And everyone forgets that. Everyone thinks that there's some sort of big money pot somewhere. We're not a rich club by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, fine. We may be ninth or sixth or seventh in the world in terms of revenue, but revenue is only half the story. The rest of the story is expenses. The rest of the story is salaries, wages. It's a whole loan servicing and all of that. And Levy is just looking for as many revenue sources as possible, and people keep making fun of him, like, "Oh, yeah." When I hear that, I think to myself, it's probably not fair on the man who's trying very hard to put in a strong financial model that can sustain us and enable us as a club to compete with other teams, on near enough equal footing, given the sort of relatively weak base we're coming from. We can't compete against Man United when it comes to paying salaries. We can't compete against City when it comes to paying salaries now, or even on transfer fees. So we have to manage what we have as best as we possibly can. And he thought he could shortcut it by saying, "Okay, fine, find a good manager, and hopefully that he or she will transform. He will transform the team." But of course, a manager would need players, and if we go back and sort of see what happened this season, right? He spent close to £200 million, right, getting players in for Mr. Conte. We had players before the season started. We've never had that before, where we had players who we got in before pre-season. And I remember very, very well the conversations people were having. I've said it before on previous episodes of this program, right? That you hear people say, "Oh, we got